War hero. If I hadn't gone the wrong way whilst daydreaming, if I hadn't stopped to tie my shoelace, if I hadn't paused to listen to the peace after a previous night of chaos, then I wouldn't have heard the crying whimpers from under the debris of bricks. Last night was the worst night so far. The planes had kept coming, the bombs had kept dropping. I was so scared. My fingers had been in my ears all night as I pressed into my mother's arms. Our little shelter we'd made in our garden was so cold and cramped, but it was the safest place to be. Tears sprang to my eyes as I remembered the terror. Another loud whimper brought me back from my frightening thoughts as I headed towards where the sound was coming from. I turned over bricks in my path as I got nearer to the cries. A large piece of metal lay on the ground. With all my strength, I heaved and pulled at the metal sheet, and somehow I found the force to move it to the side, revealing 2 chocolate eyes glaring at me. His soft brown nose snuggled into my arms. His coat was covered in dusty red brick, which smudged onto my dress as I cuddled him. I felt sorry for the small scruffy dog, the dog's weak limbs hugging me as if never wanting to leave my touch. I slowly marched on home, the dog lying in my arms, as we carefully made our way through the thick dust of crushed bricks. The sun was gradually falling away from the sky as I thought about what to do with the little pup. My cramped shoes digging into my ankle every step I took. My tummy rumbled. I sped up. We were nearly there. At last I reached the tall row of terraced houses, the long windows stretching high into the red bricks. I slowly crept through the door and ran up to my bedroom, cradling the dog carefully. Shutting the door quietly behind me, I emptied one of my toy boxes, lined it with a blanket, and settled the dog inside his new bed. At dinner, I was so quiet, wolfing down the warm filling Lord Walton pie, my brown bob of hair covering my face as I leant forward, whilst I carefully smuggled scraps of pie for the dog into a napkin I had hidden on my lap. I quickly bounced upstairs. The small white scruffy dog munched away at some warm potato and vegetables from my pie. My heart snapped in half as I stared at the adorable animal. Tears welled up in my eyes. I knew he couldn't stay. Mother would be furious. But I can't leave him outside by himself. He'd get bombed. I wiped my eyes, the soft carpet pressing into my stockings. I carefully closed the door behind me, the fluffy dog still inside, and slowly walked downstairs. My skinny body flopped down on the tatty chair. Mother stared at me with curious eyes, but not saying a single word. I stood up, my dress flapping around, revealing my puny legs and knobbly knees. I pulled the black sheets over the long windows, covering up every spot of light in sight. It was time to go to bed. I skipped upstairs, pulled on my thin nightdress and laid in my bed. The small dog's button eyes glared at me as I curled up to sleep. The white scruffy dog bounced on my bed and we fell asleep. He was a true hero. Suddenly, the small dog laying on my tummy started to whimper. I woke up panicked, startled, expecting to hear the air raid siren screeching in my ear. But there was no sirens. He could sense something though. The planes were coming in the faint distance and everyone needed to move quick.